Throughout the Bible, we find benedictions, or another way we could put it is blessings. One little one that you may have missed is in 2 Thessalonians chapter 3, verse 5, where we read, "May the Lord direct your hearts to the love of God and to the steadfastness of Christ." Don't miss that. It's powerful. First of all, Paul is praying the blessing that God would lead you, direct you to the love of God. I want to tell you, so often in our lives, we forget just how much God loves us. Paul, in more than one instance, prays and challenges the church to understand that God's love is beyond comprehension. It's wider, it's bigger than we could ever comprehend. And God's love is perfect. It is not conditional. And as you probably heard me say often, God's love does not change. If you're a believer in Jesus Christ, God's love for you is as great today as it'll ever be. It'll only be that when we finally see Jesus and we're in the presence of God our Father, that we will experience and really get His love. We'll go, that's what it feels like. But God loves you now as much as He ever will, even in the future and in eternity. But also, not only are our hearts to be directed to the love of God, but to the steadfastness, the perseverance of Christ. I love that because you see, we as individuals, we as believers in Jesus Christ, generally aren't very good at persevering. We're not steadfast. We wander. We sometimes even forget that we are called, how we're called to live. We fail. We sin. But yet the beautiful picture of Christ who never failed. And here's two sides of that. One is that Jesus persevered. He persevered here on His ministry on earth to the point of death. He obeyed every law that was required. He obeyed the Father perfectly so that we by faith could receive His perfect righteousness. Jesus persevered. But here is also the really good news. He also continues to persevere on our behalf. As believers in Jesus Christ, we're united to Christ. He perseveres for us. He intercedes for us. He's seated at the right hand of God, interceding for us all the time. And that's really good news. So regardless of how crazy the world may get, regardless how discouraged you may be, remember to direct your hearts to the love of God and the perseverance of Christ. You know what that really is? That's actually preaching the gospel to yourself, reminding yourself that the gospel is true. Are you preaching the gospel to yourself? I'm Bob Orner, and I'd like you to think about that.